Hey everyone, welcome back to channel name NUMISMA HUB. Today we dive deep into one of the more fascinating coins out of US mint history, the 1945p Jefferson nickel. But not just any nickel, the silver double die reverse variety. If you've ever wondered whether that old nickel in your coin jar could be worth more than pocket change, stay tuned. Because this coin in the right condition might just surprise you. Top 8 first up. 1945 was the final year that the US Mint produced war nickels made with a special composition because nickel was needed for wartime efforts. Instead of the usual nickel-copper alloy, the wartime nickels, including the 1945p, were struck with an alloy containing 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. This makes 1945p not only historically interesting, marking the end of an era, but also metal composition unique compared with most other Jefferson nickels. So what does double die reverse, often abbreviated DDR, mean? It refers to a mint error or variety caused during the die-making process. The hub used to impress the design onto the die was misaligned or struck twice, resulting in a reverse, the tail side that shows doubled letters or design elements. For 1945p, this means the reverse, typically the Monticello building and accompanying lettering, may show subtle duplication when inspected carefully. Because not all 1945p nickels are DDR, recognizing this variety can make a big difference in value. The 1945p Silver War nickel overall had a high mintage, 119,408,100 coins struck. However, only a subset of those are the double die reverse variety. According to numismatic records, this DDR is one of just 3 major double die coins in the entire Jefferson nickel series, the others being from 1939 and 1943. So while there are many 1945p nickels out there, ones with clean DDR, especially in high grade, are significantly scarcer. That scarcity helps drive up demand among collectors. It's important to distinguish between melt value, what the metal is worth, and numismatic value, collector value. For a 1940 21945 silver wartime nickel, including the 1945p, the metal value today remains modest. As of recent silver prices, the melt value of the silver content per coin is only a few dollars, roughly in the ballpark of 2-4 depending on market silver price. But that's not what makes DDR coins interesting. Their value comes from rarity, collector demand, condition, and historical interest, not just metal content. For a 1945p double die reverse nickel in average circulated condition, typical estimates tend to be modest. According to a coin pricing source, many such coins are valued around US $18 in average condition. This shows that unless the coin is uncirculated or has special characteristics, strike quality, full detail, minimal wear, you should not expect instant riches. It won't be worth hundreds or thousands just because it's a DDR. Here, where things get interesting. If a 1945p DDR nickel is uncirculated and graded in mint state MS condition, especially high-grade MS, its value rises significantly. According to one pricing guide, in uncirculated MS plus condition, the value can range from about US $104 up to $495 or more depending on quality and eye appeal. That's already 5-10 times what a worn example might fetch, and for serious collectors, that difference matters a lot. But if you're really lucky and have an exceptionally well-preserved coin, the top end of the market gets compelling. According to a respected coin dealer guide, here's a breakdown of possible values in USD for 1945p DDR nickels by grade $1 550. These high-grade coins are rare, and buyers in the market for uncirculated, high-quality examples may be willing to pay strong premiums. That's where the big money potential comes in, but only under ideal conditions. Real auction results support this price potential. For example, a 1945p DDR nickel graded around plus sold at a major auction for about US $393.55. More dramatically, a specimen with DDR and regarded as a full steps or well-struck example fetched as high as US $7,200. These are not typical, but they highlight how condition and certification, along with rarity, can turn a standard wartime nickel into a serious numismatic asset. If you search for or examine a 1945 PDDR nickel, don't just look at the date or mint mark. The real premium comes from a clean, sharp double die reverse, where doubling in the lettering and design on the reverse is clear but not chaotic. A strong strike, preserving fine details, especially architectural lines on Monticello, letters, etc. Minimal wear, virtually uncirculated, no heavy scratches, no cleaning, good original luster. Coins that meet these conditions are the ones most likely to command the highest values in auctions or from serious collectors. That said, and you should be realistic, most 1945p nickels you might run across are either common or worn. The high-grade, properly struck DDR examples are comparatively rare. A circulated 1945p DDR nickel, even if correctly identified, may not be worth much more than its melt value or modest collector value, often under $20.50. Unless you're very lucky or have a certified coin in excellent condition, don't expect overnight riches. So what drives the big swings in value? There are a few key factors. Collector demand for variety coins. Many Jefferson nickel collectors specialize in obtaining rare varieties, including DDR, FS full steps, and other errors. This specialized demand boosts prices for high-grade DDR coins. Grading and certification. Coins graded by professional services and graded high give buyers confidence, which increases willingness to pay premium prices. Rarity of high-grade survivors. Over 80 years later, relatively few 1945p DDR nickels remain in pristine, uncirculated condition. The scarcity of top-tier examples adds a rare artifact premium. If you discover you have a 1945p nickel, especially one that appears uncirculated or shows sharp doubling on the reverse, it's worth having it evaluated by a professional coin grader. Because the difference between regular collector value and high-end auction value can be dramatic. On the other hand, if it's worn, damaged, or poorly struck, you might decide the melt value or low-grade price is all it's realistically worth, and not rely on getting rich. It's also important to keep expectations grounded. While some rare coins do fetch thousands, most do not. The rare high-grade DDR examples are the exception, not the norm. So, is the 1945p Jefferson nickel silver double die reverse big money? It can be, but only under the right circumstances. If you're lucky enough to own an uncirculated, sharply struck example that's been certified MS64 or better, there's serious value. In past sales, such coins have fetched thousands of dollars. But for most people, a 1945p nickel will remain a modest collectible. The big payoffs belong to the rare, well-preserved, well-documented coins that meet collector standards. In other words, this nickel is no guarantee of overnight riches, but when you hit the jackpot, it can pay off. And let me know in the comments if you'd like a walkthrough of how to properly inspect old nickels for DDR or other varieties. Happy hunting and stay sharp, coin collectors. Next up today, we're diving into one of the most surprising money makers in United States coin history, the 1943p Jefferson wartime nickel. This little 5-cent coin may look simple and ordinary, but its hidden value in today's market can absolutely shock you. If you have this coin in your home, your old jar, or your coin collection, you might be holding real money without knowing it. During World War II, the United States Mint changed the composition of the nickel due to wartime metal shortages. So from 1942 to 1945, they created what we now call wartime nickels, made from 35% silver, which is why they are so collectible. Among these, the 1943p wartime nickel from Philadelphia is one of the most desirable coins, especially in high-grade condition. The 1943p is the first portrait design of Jefferson on a silver wartime nickel, and it carries the large P mint mark above Monticello on the reverse. That giant mint mark is one of the easiest ways to identify whether you may be holding a valuable piece. A regular old nickel might be worth 5 cents, but this one can be worth hundreds, and in some cases even thousands of dollars. Collectors love this coin because it's part of a unique chapter in American history, when the mint used silver instead of nickel for military needs. Silver-based coins are far more valuable today due to rising demand, limited surviving population, and premium interest from NUMISMA and U.S. coin collectors. Now let's talk about what everyone wants to know, the value. A circulated 1943p wartime nickel typically sells anywhere from $2 to $20, depending on how much wear it has. Even at this level, you're already getting far more than 5 cents, but the real jackpot comes with uncirculated or high-grade coins. In mint state MS condition, especially MS64, MS65, or MS66, the price skyrockets. In MS65, the 1943p often sells for $60 to $150, but in MS66 and above we enter the zone of serious money, prices ranging from $200 to over $1,500, depending on the strike quality and surface clarity. The highest prices are paid for extremely well-preserved coins with perfect luster, no scratches, and strong eye appeal. These coins are rare because most 1943 nickels from circulation were used heavily and damaged over the decades. That means only a small percentage survived in pristine condition, and collectors fight fiercely for them. You may be wondering, can this coin really make you rich overnight? Well, yes, if you find the right condition. Auction records show that some perfect gem examples of the 1943p Jefferson nickel have sold for over $5,000. And remember, this is a 5-cent coin we're talking about. Even better, and major grading companies such as an NGC confirm that this coin remains one of the top collectibles for new and expert numismatists. With silver content, wartime history, and a massive mint mark, it's one of those unique coins that can surprise anyone with its market value. There's also a fascinating variety collectors hunt for, the full steps strike on Monticello. If your 1943p has clear, sharp steps on the monument, its price jumps significantly. Full steps coins are incredibly rare for wartime nickels, and graded examples can sell for huge premiums, sometimes reaching thousands. To check whether your coin is valuable, look for 3 things: silver wartime color, the big P mint mark, and how sharp the details are. If you see strong lines on the steps and minimal scratches, you might be holding a high-grade treasure. In that case, grading it could be one of the best financial decisions you ever make. Collectors are paying big money for these wartime nickels right now because demand is rising every year. As fewer high-quality pieces remain in the market, prices will continue increasing. So if you own a clean, sharp, shiny 1943p nickel, don't rush to sell it, research first, because you could be holding a small fortune. So there you have it, the incredible story of the 1943p Jefferson wartime nickel, a simple 5-cent coin that can turn into big money overnight. Check your drawers, old boxes, and piggy banks. You never know when a tiny piece of World War history might change your life. Next up, today's video is all about one of the most exciting and shockingly valuable wartime coins ever minted in the United States, the 1944p Jefferson War nickel. At first glance, it looks like a normal coin, but don't be fooled. This little piece of metal can be worth hundreds, thousands, and in some rare cases even tens of thousands of dollars depending on condition, mint errors, and rarity. If you've ever dreamed of finding a coin that could literally change your life overnight, then this is the one you absolutely must check your collection for. The 1944p nickel is part of the iconic wartime silver nickel series, minted during World War II when the US needed nickel metal for military equipment. To save nickel for the war effort, the mint created a special alloy of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. Because of this, these nickels contain real silver, which already gives them extra value. But the true jackpot lies in the rare mint errors and high-grade strike examples that collectors fight over in today's market. One of the reasons the 1944p nickel is so valuable is the large and bold P mint mark above Monticello on the reverse. This was the first time the Philadelphia Mint used a large mint mark on any U.S. coin. This historic feature makes the 1944p very desirable, and when combined with pristine condition or special errors, its value skyrockets far beyond normal silver content pricing. Let's talk about the real money. A normal circulated 1944p silver nickel might sell for $1 to $5, but that's not what today's video is about. The serious wealth comes from the rare high-grade coins, particularly those graded and by or NGC. In mint state 66, the coin already jumps into $200-400 territory. Examples can reach $1,000 to $4,000, and the highest quality survivors are incredibly rare. But the true life-changing value appears in the full steps FS category. Full steps refers to the steps on Monticello being perfectly struck and sharply visible. This detail is extremely rare in wartime nickels due to weak striking pressure and worn dies. A 1944p nickel with full steps in is so rare that collectors are willing to pay insane premiums. At major auctions, these special coins have sold for $20,000, $25,000, even close to $30,000 depending on eye appeal and market demand. Many people don't realize that wartime nickels also include some fascinating and extremely valuable mint errors. For example, off-center strikes, double die or reverses, die cracks, clip planchets and mint marks can raise the value dramatically. Some rare errors can transform a simple coin into a $500 to $5,000 treasure, especially if the error is bold, dramatic, and certified by a trusted grading company. Another highly valuable version of the 1944 P nickel is the full steps gem quality strike. Coins showing crystal-clear steps on Monticello are prized by advanced collectors. Even a single grade bump can mean a difference of thousands of dollars. A coin graded FS can easily bring $4,000 to $8,000, and if you have a flawless FS, the value goes straight into the five-figure range. The silver content adds extra appeal. As silver continues to go up in today's market, even regular wartime nickels are becoming more desirable. But when you have a rare variety, a stunning high-grade strike, or a dramatic error, the silver becomes just a bonus, because its real worth comes from the collector value that keeps increasing every year. That's why dealers and collectors always recommend keeping an eye on wartime nickels. If you're wondering how such a small, old nickel can make you rich overnight, the answer is simple: rarity plus demand plus silver plus condition. These four factors have allowed the 1944 P wartime nickel to become one of the most surprising high-value coins of the century. People have found these coins in old jars, inherited collections, rolls from the bank, or even pocket change, and later discovered they were sitting on hundreds or thousands of dollars without even knowing. Imagine the excitement of owning a coin that looks common, but when graded professionally, suddenly turns out to be a top population example worth $10,000, $20,000 or more. This is exactly what has happened to many lucky collectors. The 1944 P nickel has a reputation for producing these unbelievable outcomes, which is why it remains one of the most searched and studied wartime coins. To maximize profits, experts recommend checking your coin under proper lighting and magnification. Look for strong details on Jefferson's face, a sharp strike on the building, and especially the steps on Monticello. The more steps you can count clearly, the higher the potential value. Any signs of doubling, cracks, off-center design, or unusual textures could also indicate a valuable error variety. If you find a coin that looks promising, consider sending it to NGC or for professional grading. A certified grade is what determines real market value, especially in auctions. Without grading, your coin may be worth a few dollars, but with grading, it might suddenly become a four-figure or even five-figure prize. So before you spend or ignore any old wartime nickel, especially the 1944 P, stop and check it carefully. This tiny silver coin has changed people's fortunes unexpectedly, and it can do the same for you. Whether it's a high-grade mint state example, a full steps rarity, or a striking mint error, the 1944 P Jefferson wartime nickel remains one of the most valuable 5-cent coins in America, and it might just be hiding in your home waiting to make you rich overnight. Next up today, we're diving into one of the most surprising and undervalued coins in American numismatics, the 1941 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary 5-cent coin, something you might find in change or tucked away in an old drawer. But don't let that simple appearance fool you. This coin has the power to shock collectors because certain conditions, errors, and high-grade examples of the 1941 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel can sell for huge money in today's market, sometimes enough to change your wallet or even your life overnight. The 1941 Jefferson nickel was minted in Philadelphia, which is why it has no mint mark. Millions were produced, but only a tiny fraction survived in the flawless condition collectors want today. That's where the big money begins. While common worn 1941 nickels are only worth face value, high-grade examples certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC can skyrocket into the hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And when we talk about rare die errors or specific strike varieties, things get even more exciting because those are the coins that bring shockingly high auction prices. Many collectors overlook the 1941 nickel simply because so many were originally minted. But in reality, finding one in true mint state condition is extremely difficult. Over time, circulation damages the smooth surfaces, causes scratches, weakens the design, and eliminates the luster that makes a coin valuable. That's why pristine, untouched examples from 1941 are considered treasures. Investors are willing to pay top dollar for them, and auction houses know these coins can spark bidding wars that drive the final price through the roof. Let's talk numbers, because this is where the excitement really starts. A normal 1941 no mint mark nickel in circulated condition might be worth a few cents, but in MS65, which is a high mint state grade, it can sell for $30 to $50. Not bad for a coin that originally cost 5 cents, but if the coin leaps into MS66, the price can climb closer to $100, $150. Rare, yes, but still achievable by lucky collectors who find exceptionally well-preserved pieces. Here, where things get jaw-dropping. In MS67, the 1941 nickel becomes a powerhouse. These coins are extremely rare, and that rarity translates into big market value. Many MS67 examples have sold for over $1,000, and depending on eye appeal, luster, and strike sharpness, some have reached $2,000 or more. That's life-changing money for a 5-cent coin minted more than 80 years ago, and that's not even the top of the mountain. The true giants of value come in MS68, a grade nearly impossible to achieve for this year. Coins in this level of perfection are almost unreal. We're talking about flawless surfaces, booming luster, and razor-sharp details, the kind of coin you dream of finding. These pieces have sold for $8,000 to $12,000, and in some cases, certain examples have climbed even higher when market demand spikes. That's the kind of coin that truly can make you rich overnight. But condition isn't the only thing that can bring major value. The 1941 Jefferson nickel also has known varieties and error coins that collectors pay premium prices for. Some of these include doubled die obverses, die cracks, off-center strikes, and planchet errors. These mistakes made at the mint result in unique one-of-a-kind pieces, and collectors love rarity. Error coins from 1941 have been known to sell anywhere between $200 to $5,000, depending on the severity and the condition. One of the biggest money makers is the double die reverse variety. This error occurs when the reverse design is struck slightly misaligned during production, causing the lettering or Monticello details to appear doubled. When found in mint state, this variety can skyrocket in auction value. Collectors have paid hundreds, even thousands of dollars for sharp double die examples. So always examine your coins closely, because doubling may be hiding in plain sight. Another significant value factor is the metal composition. The 1941 nickel still used the original nickel-copper alloy, since wartime silver nickels only began in 1942. But because the composition hasn't changed, the coin tends to wear quickly, making high-grade survivors even more desirable today. The smooth surfaces, particularly around Jefferson's cheek and hair, were easily damaged during circulation. That's why collectors chase those rare untouched examples with intense focus, and why auction prices remain consistently strong. So what should you look for if you want to strike it rich with a 1941 nickel? First, check for original luster, that bright cartwheel shine that moves when you rotate the coin. Second, examine the steps on Monticello. Full steps coins known as FS designation are extremely rare for this year. A 1941 nickel with full steps can bring premium money, sometimes multiplying the value by 5 or even 10 times compared to a normal strike. These are the true gems hiding in pocket change. You should also pay attention to the overall strike quality. Sharp details on Jefferson's hair jawline and Monticello's columns indicate a strong strike. Collectors pay significantly more for crisp coins because they display more artistry from the original dies. Combine a strong strike with high mint state condition, and you've got a coin many investors would fight over. And yes, these are the exact coins that can transform a simple discovery into a huge financial gain. Auctions have proven time and time again that the 1941 no mint mark Jefferson nickel is a sleeper coin with massive potential. Some examples have shattered expectations by selling far above estimated values. As the coin market continues to heat up, older U.S. coins with strong eye appeal and rarity are becoming more desirable. That means your 1941 nickel could be worth far more today than it was just a few years ago, especially if collectors find themselves competing for the finest surviving example. So don't underestimate this humble 5-cent coin. If you have a 1941 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, it might be worth much more than you think. Check your old piggy banks, jars, albums, and inherited collections, because one perfectly preserved 1941 nickel has the power to make you rich overnight. The right grade, the right error, or the right strike could turn a simple 5-cent coin into thousands of dollars. And that's the magic of coin collecting, ordinary coins with extraordinary value. Next up, today's video is all about a coin that hides in plain sight, one that millions of people have touched without ever realizing its true potential. We're talking about the 1984 D Jefferson nickel, a modern-era coin that you could still find in your loose change, but under the right conditions, it can be worth huge profits. This coin may look ordinary, but small details can transform it from a 5-cent piece into a high-value collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The regular 1984 D nickel from the Denver Mint was produced in massive numbers, over 726 million pieces, but don't let that large mintage fool you. Like many modern coins, the real money is not in the common circulation-grade pieces, but in high-grade mint state specimens, and especially those with rare minting errors. These rare coins can skyrocket in value, turning a simple nickel into a potential jackpot for anyone lucky enough to find one. One of the biggest value boosters for the 1984 Jefferson nickel is its condition. Most coins from this year were used heavily in circulation, meaning they show wear, scratches, and damage. But the coins that escaped circulation and remained in pristine condition, especially those graded MS65, MS66, or higher, are the ones worth chasing. Collectors pay strong premiums for coins with full steps and clean surfaces, because this type of quality is extremely difficult to find from the 1980s era. The highest graded examples of the 1984 nickel have shocked collectors at auctions. Some pieces with perfect luster, razor-sharp detail, and strong steps on Monticello have sold for over $1,000, and certain ultra-rare high-MS specimens can go even higher when bidding wars break out. The reason? The population of top-tier examples is extremely low. Collectors who want to build complete sets of Jefferson nickels will pay premium prices for the finest known pieces. But the real treasure lies in rare mint errors, and the 1984 nickel has some spectacular ones. These include off-center strikes, broad strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, and most valuable of all, double die errors and full-step varieties. If you find a coin with strong doubling on the date, the word Liberty, or Jefferson's profile, the value can increase dramatically. Some dramatic and rare errors have sold for $500 to $3,000, depending on severity and condition. The full steps, FS, variety is one of the most desirable traits a Jefferson nickel can have. Full steps refers to the number of fully visible steps on Monticello on the reverse. For the 1984 issue, finding full steps is extremely rare because most coins were struck with worn dies or at lower pressure. A genuine full steps 1984 nickel in MS66 or MS67 grade can be a serious moneymaker, with values often reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. Collectors worldwide love the Jefferson nickel series because it combines affordability with the thrill of high-value finds. And the 1984 nickel is a perfect example of how a coin from the modern era can carry hidden value. Whether you're new to coin collecting or a long-time collector, this coin reminds us that treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered in old jars, coin rolls, or even in pocket change. Another major factor that affects the value of the 1984 nickel is its strike quality. Coins from the Denver Mint in the 1980s often show weak strikes or die deterioration. So when a sharply struck specimen shows up with clean steps, crisp lettering, and flashy luster, collectors immediately take notice. This is why grading agencies like PCGS and NGC play such an important role. Grading determines market value, and one grade difference can mean hundreds of dollars. Let's talk about recent auction highlights. A beautifully preserved 1984 Jefferson nickel graded MS67 with full steps sold for nearly $1,500, while another example with stunning luster and flawless surfaces cracked the $2,000 mark. Error coins also surprised collectors. One dramatic off-center strike brought in over $700, and a strong double die error went for more than $1,200. These numbers show that this coin has serious market demand. So what should you look for? Start by examining your coin's mint mark located to the right of Monticello. It must be a clear D for Denver. Then check the surface for wear or scratches. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the steps on Monticello, looking for clean, uninterrupted lines. Finally, scan for doubling or striking errors. If the coin looks sharp, clean, and possibly special, you may have a valuable piece worth grading. Even circulated 1984 nickels with dramatic errors are worth money. This is important because most people assume valuable coins are only the shiny ones. But major errors like broad strikes, double denominations, or off-center strikes can turn even a worn coin into a collector prize. These pieces often start around $50 to $200 and go upward depending on rarity. The beauty of the 1984 Jefferson nickel is that anyone can find it. It's still widely available in circulation, coin rolls, old piggy banks, and estate collections. People throw these coins away every day, unaware that one exceptional example could be hiding among them. This is why coin hunters love this date. Its potential value far exceeds its face value, making it one of the best modern nickels to search for. In conclusion, the 1984 Jefferson nickel is a perfect reminder that fortune can be hiding in the smallest places. What looks like an ordinary 5-cent coin may actually be a rare high-grade collector gem worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Whether it's a full steps variety, a top-graded mint state example, or a dramatic mint error, this coin could absolutely make you rich overnight. So start searching. Your next lucky find could be sitting in your pocket right now. Next up, today's video is going to shock coin collectors, beginners, and treasure hunters across the world, because we are talking about a coin that almost every household has seen at some point. The 1964 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary 5-cent coin, something you might ignore, toss in a drawer, or spend without thinking twice. But what if I told you this humble nickel has varieties that can be worth hundreds, thousands, and even over $30,000 to $50,000 at auctions? Yes, this simple nickel could literally turn into life-changing money overnight if you find the right one in the right condition. So sit tight as we explore everything you need to know about this legendary coin. The year 1964 was an important one for United States coinage. Due to a massive national coin shortage, the U.S. Mint produced the highest number of Jefferson nickels ever recorded. More than 1 billion 1964 nickels were made, making it one of the most common coins of its time. However, with such an enormous production run came a higher chance of rare minting errors, double dies, die cracks, and exceptional strike varieties, which today have become extremely valuable to collectors. Even though the Philadelphia Mint did not use mint marks in 1964, many coins from this year stand out because of the mistakes made during rushed mass production. Even common circulated 1964 Jefferson nickels are worth only face value, but the uncirculated, full steps, and error varieties can sell for unbelievably high prices. The most valuable 1964 nickel ever sold reached over $30,000, and several others routinely bring five-figure prices at major auctions. Why do collectors pay so much? It's because sharp, fully struck steps on Monticello, rare die doubling, and perfect mint luster from 60 years ago are incredibly hard to find. So if you come across a beautiful 1964 nickel with strong details, you might be holding a jackpot coin. One of the biggest price factors for a 1964 Jefferson nickel is the full steps designation. On the reverse side of the coin, the Monticello building should show 5 or 6 separate steps with clean, sharp lines. During 1964, the majority of coins were poorly struck, meaning almost no coins came out with full steps. Finding a 1964 nickel with 5 or 6 full steps is like winning a mini lottery. That is why a single example graded MS-67 with full steps sold for tens of thousands of dollars. These coins are so rare that even professional graders rarely see them. Another major factor that determines value is the coin's condition. A circulating pocket change 1964 nickel may be worth a few cents, but a coin graded MS-65, MS-66, or MS-67 can bring thousands. Collectors especially look for coins with original shine, no scratches, and sharp design elements. Many coins from this year were poorly handled, bag-marked, or stored in humid conditions, which makes high-grade examples extremely scarce today. If you find an untouched 1964 nickel that looks brand new, you could be holding a hidden treasure. The 1964 no mint mark nickel has several known error varieties that can sell for huge amounts. Some of the most valuable include double die obverse, where Jefferson's I lettering and motto appear doubled. Double die reverse, where the Monticello building or wording shows ghost-like doubling, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, clipped planchets, and struck-through grease errors. Some rare doubling varieties have sold for thousands depending on condition. Because 1964 was a rushed production year, error coins slipped through the system much more frequently. You may have heard rumors online that the 1964 nickel is worth $1 million. To clarify, there is no officially confirmed $1 million sale, but several specimens have approached extremely high value, and some collectors believe a perfect 1964 full steps nickel graded at the highest level could one day break auction records. What is true is that the finest graded coins have already sold for $20,000 to $50,000, making it one of the most valuable modern nickels in existence. So yes, a lucky find can absolutely make you rich overnight. You don't need expensive tools to check your 1964 nickel. First, look at the date to confirm it is 1964 with no mint mark. Then inspect the steps on Monticello using a simple magnifying glass. If you see clean, complete steps with no merging lines, you may have a full steps coin. Next, check for doubling on the words Liberty, In God We Trust, and the Monticello design. Any strong doubling is a good sign. Finally, check the coin's overall luster and sharpness. The shinier, cleaner, and more detailed the coin is, the higher the potential value. Collectors around the world consider this coin a challenge. It is common in low grades but nearly impossible to find in perfect condition with full steps. That combination, common yet extremely rare and top-tier quality, creates huge demand in the numismatic market. Every year, new collectors search coin rolls, old savings jars, and inherited collections hopping to find the legendary perfect strike 1964 nickel. Because of this ongoing demand, the price of high-grade examples only continues to rise. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have sold several 1964 Jefferson nickels for astonishing prices. Some of the most expensive include coins graded MS-67 full steps, bringing $32,000, $36,000 and higher. Even non-FS examples in MS-67 have crossed $8,000 to $10,000. Error varieties with strong doubling can sell anywhere from $500 to $5,000 depending on eye appeal. These numbers prove that even a 5-cent coin can turn into a small fortune when rarity and condition meet. If you think you have a rare example, do not rush to sell it locally or online. First, consider sending it to a certified grading service like PCGS, NGC, or ANACS. A high grade could multiply your coin's value by 10 or even 100 times. Next, compare your coin with recently sold listings and consult a reputable dealer. Finally, if your coin is extremely rare, consider selling it through a major auction house to get the highest price. Imagine finding a coin worth $20,000.50 in a jar of old change. That's the exciting reality of the 1964 Jefferson nickel. Many collectors who discovered high-grade full steps coins had no idea they owned something special until years later. Because these coins were mass-produced and heavily circulated, millions of people unknowingly have them in drawers, piggy banks, and old boxes. One lucky discovery is all it takes to turn a 5-cent coin into a massive payday. The 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel is one of the ultimate treasure-hunting coins in American numismatics. It's a reminder that you don't need rare gold or silver to strike it rich. Sometimes wealth hides inside everyday pocket change. So check your coins, look for the details we talked about today, and you might be the next person to uncover a valuable piece of American history. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most surprising coins ever minted.